battle, and I'm sure that each one of us, if we join hands and come together, find ways of being able to find the resilience and the strength, we can deal with it much better. Just to put things in perspective, why is this so important? Because the burden of cancer in India today, we are the third largest in the world after the US and China, and we're growing rapidly. If you just take a look at the numbers, as per ICMR, the cancer incidence in India is projected to be nearly 3 crores by 2025. That's not way out in the future, it's right around the corner. Just last year, 14.6 lakh people were detected with cancer, and more than 8 lakh people detected with cancer in fact succumbed to the disease. The scale of the problem, as you all know, is humongous, and it is our determination to fight this big challenge. Sanjeevani, United Against Cancer, is really our practical demonstration of our commitment to be able to combat this disease. And starting now and over the next few weeks and several months, we will be in mission mode trying to raise awareness, sensitize people about what it takes to battle against this disease. We also intend to make this a conversation, and we are hoping to start that conversation here this evening. We really couldn't have done this without Federal Bank. Shyam Srinivasan, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to Mr. Srinivasan and the team at Federal Bank for joining us in what has become an invaluable partnership for us at Network 18. In fact, it began during the course of the pandemic. It really started with what we now call Sanjeevani 1, which was then a campaign to try and get people to get vaccinated. It was called Sanjeevani, a shot of life. And this really is the season 2 as far as our Sanjeevani campaign is concerned. And once again, coming together to really raise awareness about an issue that requires a lot of our mind space, that requires a lot of will and collective action. Of course, early detection, as you all know, is very, very crucial when we talk about combating cancer. And so it's also wonderful to have with us on board Tata Trust. Tata Trust have been at the forefront of the fight against cancer. So thank you very much again, sir, to the team at Tata Memorial Trust for joining us here this evening and for partnering with us at Network 18. This is going to be something that requires a great amount of grit, determination and significant partnerships. And so it is my pleasure to also thank Novartis, the associate sponsor in this campaign. Thank you very much to the team at Novartis for coming on board. Many of you may not know this, but Novartis is putting together an innovative pipeline of cancer drugs, and have been doing that for the past several years globally, and of course are doing that here in India as well. So we couldn't have asked for better partners to join us here this evening for the launch of Sanjeevani. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have stories that you'd like to share with us, if you have recommendations or suggestions on what you believe needs to be done at a policy level, what needs to be done at an infrastructure level, what needs to be done at a support level, do reach out to us, and we will try and ensure that we can get this conversation moving and we can get the action that is required and the interventions that are required to be made to go through. So thank you once again for joining us here this evening, and we are of course looking forward to many more conversations that we intend to have here on this stage as we take this evening forward. May I now request Mr. Shyam Srinivasan to join me up on stage. Mr. Srinivasan, thank you very much for being here with us this evening. I would request you to join me on stage to take the conversation forward. You know, very often when I speak to Mr. Srinivasan, it's mostly about where interest rates are headed or what's happening as far as NPAs are concerned. Today is going to be a different conversation. But first up, we're launching Sanjeevani on a day that Federal Bank stock has touched an all-time high. So congratulations on that, Mr. Srinivasan. And there's more good news. 14 years of you being at the helm at Federal Bank, and there's another piece of good news, and that Federal Bank has actually made it to the list of the great places to work as far as women specifically are concerned. So on all three fronts, a big congratulations to you, Mr. Srinivasan. How do you feel today?
Thank you, Shereen. Both excited and a little humbled by the occasion, right? I just cast my mind back to what we had in April 2021 at the peak of the pandemic. At the Wagah border, when we launched the Shot of Life campaign, there was a sense, it was overwhelming, right? Because this occasion, the at that time we were playing blind. We didn't know how to cure, at least in this there's a certain distance traveled. There it was completely blind. And today I just look back and I say the bank and partnering with you guys, we made, I think, meaningful progress. We touched over many lakhs of lives. And I do think today could be the start of something very special. When I heard you say that, I think we are poised at a great place. As a bank, from what you described, we are deeply committed to doing stuff that touches society in a real way, right? And I think the more recent developments of the stock doing well, or these are just shot in the arm, but I would just set that aside. The most important thing is the last one that you mentioned. Our workforce, we have 43% of our workforce is women, right? And to be an organization that is, I think, the third year in running, a great place to work for women. And if you've seen that number that's come out, we are the only Indian born, brought up, raised in India organization in the top 10. The other 9 are organizations with great pedigree and from across the world. So I'm deeply excited that the bank's women power is at show. And coming to this topic, I think they bring a lot more empathy. And that feeds into the organization's culture of what we want to do for society. So in many ways, we are poised for something special, important, and I think far-reaching. So yes,
you'll be getting my CV by later tonight, Mr.
I am not willing to lose my job, so we will wait for that.
No, but on a serious note, let's talk about why we are here this evening. And I don't know again how many of you in this room know the numbers, but the numbers are staggering. The out-of-pocket spends of an average Indian on healthcare expenditure is significant. It's still about 50% of GDP. And I was just taking a look at the last released numbers, and there's a whole bunch of estimates that are done. But according to a journal that put out numbers more recently, it talks about how the out-of-pocket expenditure, both for inpatient as well as outpatient, on a monthly basis averages anywhere between 8 to 12,000 rupees, and that is a staggering sum of money. So almost works out to about more than 3 lakh rupees annually as far as the average citizen is concerned. And you know that there is an under-penetration as far as insurance is concerned in the country. And so it's a really important aspect to focus on, because if you can catch it early, if you can ensure that you get the right kind of care, you have access to the right kind of infrastructure, it perhaps could not just alleviate the health burden, but also the economic burden,
Absolutely,
Mr. Srinivasan.
absolutely. In fact, I think one of the things, as we get deeper into this program, and as a bank, we've spoken on a few occasions, even at the board level, I think we have to start investing in the adjacencies around this. This program will certainly help increase awareness, which is our sort of bigger aspiration. But we recognize that the caregivers and the support mechanism for anybody impacted, we've seen, in fact, one of our board members has almost mandated to construct facilities like a dorm or whatever in and around the cancer hospitals to help people who are supporting, because many of them literally live on the pavement, or live by getting some dole or some support, people with not enough privileges. So I think the big development that we want to make in this is, apart from this whole journey of trying to promote awareness and support people, start investing in the adjacencies and help people in a way genuinely the caregiver is not affected massively, at least financially and physically, if they can support. So it is going to be quite a important development in this journey.
No, and you bring up a very important point, because a large part of the spends are actually on account of the non-medical aspects. So it's the food, the transportation, the lodging, as you spoke of. That actually adds to the economic burden for not just the patient, but also for the caregivers, and that really is something that we need to focus on. And we're talking about huge geographical disparities in terms of just being able to access good quality infrastructure, healthcare infrastructure that people can access for specifically cancer treatment. So as part of this initiative, and separate from this initiative as well, what have been some of the learnings in being able to build this out?
See, we think by a few ads and by a few messages, a large population will recognize it. At best, it's a fleeting thought for many. So one of the struggles is, how do we get the grassroots really understand and work at that level? And the lesson we learned from the last round when we did the Sanjeevani one, all our blitz on channels and various platforms help. But the real last mile, when the guy went in a bus to the local village, literally carted them back to the site to tell them why it is, give them the incentives to take that shot. So I think the biggest exercise for all of us is going to be, as we get united against cancer, is how does the last mile actually go and test, and how do we support them once the test, God forbid, if they detect something? Are we going to support them with some kind of financial support, assistance, simplifying, and then of course the treatment related. So this is a lot of work, you know it better, but I as in federal is committed to making sure on the ground as much as possible, using physical force, using technology, we want to try and bring more people really beyond one level above awareness, getting into the, the kind of effort to go and test, and we have to do a lot there. Our employees have committed. We have actually launched now an employee program where we give voluntary day off for doing volunteering.
Okay.
So on specific days in the bank, they are taking time off to go into local communities and penetrate the message down. So it's not just headlining, but I hope we can reach out to the ground by truly the employees themselves. We about 15,000 of us go out and in the local communities, promote the awareness, but also encourage them to go into the testing. So it's a lot of work that needs to be done on the ground.
And many people would be curious to know that why is a bank deciding to support the cause of cancer? When we talk about the COVID pandemic and we talked about vaccination, it perhaps still made sense because you wanted the economy to restart, and one of the ways of being able to do that was to ensure that more and more people were vaccinated. But why the decision to actually join hands in the fight against cancer?
Yeah, we did think about it. See, the two big themes that we work on is one is healthcare and the other is skilling and education. On both counts, we are setting aside meaningful sums as the CSR expense of the bank and time by employees. Why cancer? You reeled out the statistics. I don't have to say more. It's truly debilitating, and we've seen almost everybody has some instance of somebody, friend, family has suffered this, and it brings a tear. I mean, most recently at the workplace, one of my colleagues, and husband and wife both work in the bank, it was remarkable to see how the lady who was affected, the guy stood by her, they literally fighting it through, raising a family through that, and the story that they related to me, you have to be really hard-hearted not to think about it twice over and say we have to reach out and do something, because many are suffering like this. So as a bank, the thought process, if you're focusing on healthcare as a big theme, and if this is something that's so important to India and to lives, why don't we spend a meaningful sum? I think our ESG is not just fancy terminology. The ESG, and this is not just my time, the bank has been quite resolutely supporting social causes for long periods of time. You may be aware, IFC, the World Bank, their largest investment in any organization in the world, the largest single organization is in Federal Bank. Right? Most recently, they went up to, they technically can go up to 9%. And they don't do things lightly. They are in it because they believe in our ESG practices. We believe in it. So we are quite committed to it, and I'm not saying this just on a platform. This is what we've been doing. The employee hours we're putting in are not light statements I make. Including me, we spend time. We spend time, we encourage people to spend time, we're paying them to go and do this in local communities in every fashion. So I think this is something fits in nicely, and I have to compliment you guys for bringing it up as a theme, and thank you for both our partners as well. So this can be quite big, and we have to do it across many years. I don't think we are committed to doing it just for 6 months. Rahul and me and others, when we've spoken, we said we must look at this at a longer period, but yeah, we have to test the waters and see what impact we're making, but we must commit to doing this in a manner that is just beyond advertisement. It has to reach lives, turn lives favorably, and hopefully we'll see many more smiling faces and people fought it and come over.
Oh, absolutely. I do hope that it will lead to at least a movement of hope, as well as bringing on board some solutions to the problem that we are faced with today.
One more thing I'll just tell you, Shereen. I know we're maybe turning, it says time's up. But I'll just tell you, a thought that's occurring, and we are looking to create some, it sounds fancy, but some AI-based capability that is going to be under our CSR initiative, which will be maybe many months, years, I don't know, to help in simplifying detection on the ground in the remotest parts of the country. I don't know, it's a long, tall ambition, but we are committed to finding some solution around it and parking some money for that. And I'm sure like-minded individuals, institutions will co-work with us, but this is something that we are committed to doing. It may take a year out, but we are going to do that.
It requires collaboration, it requires deep partnerships, which is what we're hoping to do here today. We forged a very strong tripartite partnership, and we hope that we are going to be able to take this forward. It is called the Emperor of All Maladies, in the words of the Pulitzer Prize winning author Siddharth Mukherjee, and I think that it requires dedicated action, it requires collective and urgent intervention at this point in time. So Shyam Srinivasan, many thanks for joining us here this evening, for your generosity and for your support as always. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is only the start of this evening. We have plenty more coming up for you, so enjoy the evening, and as I said, this is really an opportunity for you to share your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions with us, so please do keep them coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.